earlier on that, around safety. If we don't have arrests or we see a show of force whereby these bandits and criminals are apprehended and they face the full of the wrath of the law, it will just be a case of when next and when next.
Correct.
It means that we haven't yet dealt with the problems. We're just dealing with surface issues. And then we're releasing, headlines that would make people happy. But the real issue around the people behind it, whether those who are the ones abducting or the people financing the bandits, we have not seen any action done to them. Until we have that,
yes,
we cannot celebrate completely.
Absolutely.
President Tinubu may be saying, well, we have rescued some people. No, it should not be on an episodic ad hoc basis.
No.
Because that's what Nigerian government
and we
does.
want to see
when
arrest.
the government is under pressure, they say we have rescued 50 people. We have rescued 38 people in Iruku, Kwara State.
All right.
Nobody should be abducted.
This is it.
All of us should be safe.
Well said.
If all of us are safe, you will not even have to be thinking of withdrawing policemen from VIPs, because nobody will need VIP protection. Everybody will be safe.
Good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending with some good news from Kwara State, where 38 worshippers in Eruku, Town Ekiti local government area of the state, who were recently abducted, have regained their freedom. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak announced their release on Sunday, crediting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's hands-on approach for securing their freedom. The governor thanked the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Department of State Services, the Nigerian Army, Nigeria Intelligence Agency, and the Nigeria Police, which deployed 4 new tactical teams to Kwara State on presidential directive to secure their release. Well, here is the moment the victims regain their freedom.
These are for treatment. Let me give you from my heart. Give you for treatment. I'm not worried. I'm not disabled. If we can come back, that will not be our prayer. I will be here till they come back. All of us will. Nobody will die. Yeah. So I beg. So my mama.
Such good news. This is the kind of swift action Nigerians want to see from their leaders. Well, President Tinubu, in a post on X on Sunday, reiterated his commitment to securing the nation and also revealed that 51 out of the missing students of the Catholic school in Niger State have been recovered. His post reads, "My fellow Nigerians, you will recall that I cancelled my trip to the G20 summit in South Africa to enable me coordinate the security efforts at home. Thanks to the efforts of our security forces, over the last few days, all the 38 worshippers abducted in Eruku, Kwara State, have been rescued. I am equally happy that 51 out of the missing students of the Catholic school in Niger State have been recovered. I am closely monitoring the security situation nationwide and receiving continuous updates from the front line. Let me be clear, I will not relent. Every Nigerian in every state has the right to safety, and under my watch, we will secure this nation and protect our people." Well, reactions have trailed, and I'll take one from our favorite doctor who wrote, 51 students recovered, 38 worshippers rescued, yet no arrest. Not one terrorist arrested, not one terrorist killed, not one terrorist prosecuted, just a declaration of magical rescue and recovery of kidnapped humans from the hands of terrorists. That's all you need to know, that this government just pays money to terrorists to reduce its international shame and disgrace. A truly serious government will be making arrests, parading criminals, charging terrorists to court, and showing it is serious in the fight against insecurity. Vimba, I believe I heard you also mention this during the headline where you're asking, what happened? How come we're seeing these people being released? No arrests. That's what we've always been asking for. Meanwhile, a video making rounds on social media showed the moment terrorists who allegedly orchestrated the kidnap of students dared security forces to rescue the victims from their den. In the video, one of the terrorists could be heard saying, "I greet you all, my fellow Muslims. I heard you are protesting. What is the protest for? Is it because of the students that were kidnapped? Since you know where they are, you can come get them." This is the level of brazen confidence that these criminals, show every time we see these sort of videos on TikTok, on social media. It shows that they have absolutely no fear of consequences and are openly mocking both the authorities and concerned citizens. Meanwhile, the Christian Association of Nigeria in Niger State confirmed that 50 pupils abducted from St. Mary's Private Catholic Primary and Secondary School escaped from captivity and returned home themselves. CAN stated that the school has 430 pupils, with 141 pupils not taken during the attack. However, 236 pupils, 3 staff children, 14 secondary school students and 12 members of staff remain in captivity, bringing the total number still held by the abductors to 253 people. Ayo, 253 people still in captivity at this moment. First of all, kudos to the rescue efforts.
Yes.
Our Kwara people are home. I mean, you saw that video with the elderly woman who,
yes.
Dr. Abati, during, when we first played that video, you said, look, you were shocked. A lot of people were shocked to see that even the elderly gets kidnapped in our country.
Wow. So all of it is just the brazenness and the audacity of the criminals in such a way that we now had to spend time almost appealing to bandits to release the people that have held in captivity without a show of force from the government. So on one hand, I'm glad you started off with the good news of the fact that, okay, this is what they have done. Since we've spoken, the 38 all parishioners in Ekuru have been released. We see the rejoicing right there. But when we talk about the 51 students, the language is different. In some instances, they said that they were rescued. Others say that they escaped. Some people say that, but the CAN has come out to say that they came out by themselves. They escaped.
Yes.
The 51 students came out by themselves. So we cannot attribute that to efforts by security agencies because we still have 253 people still in captivity. There are a number of issues around this, and that's why I asked the call for the president this morning. We had Dr. Fagbemi earlier on dimension the extent of the problems, and even talking about how, unfortunately, the response is not anywhere near enough. The cosmetic response, as he describes it, is not what Nigerians are looking for. We want solutions. We don't want to be thinking of the next place where they're going to attack or have parents withdrawing their children from school. If that happens, it means they have won. It means insecurity has won. It means terrorism has won. It means banditry has won, and this government has not been able to secure the lives and properties of Nigeria. To end this, I'll just say, bring back home all 253, but beyond that, can we have arrests? Can we have convictions? Can we have people identify those who are behind these atrocities? That's what we want.
Perfect. Well said. 253 in Niger State, and 24 our girls are still in captivity from Kebbi State. We still have our girls in captivity. Well, the United States President Donald Trump's Fox Radio interview, in which he called Nigeria and the federal government a disgrace, while speaking on attacks targeting Christians in the country, sparked a wave of reactions on social media over the weekend. Trump spoke during Brian Kilmeade's show, threatening to withdraw aid from Nigeria, accusing the federal government authorities of being ineffective in protecting Christians. Let's take a listen.
It is a disgrace. The whole thing is a disgrace. They're killing people by the thousands. It's a genocide. I'm really angry about it. We get a lot of subsidy to Nigeria. We're going to end up stopping. The government's done nothing. They're very ineffective. They're killing Christians at will. And until I got involved in it 2 weeks ago, nobody even talked about it.
Well, Trump's comments generated diverse views. While some Nigerians on social media agree that the government has been ineffective in stopping the killings and kidnappings, others viewed his comments as a disrespectful attack on our sovereignty. And I'll take some reactions. Eric Okafor wrote on X, Nigeria is not a disgrace, and no president should ever say that about another country. If Trump has a problem with foreign leaders, he should address them and not the whole country. Jude wrote on X, Trump's remarks, however inflammatory, expose a painful contradiction Nigeria has lived with for far too long. A nation that calls itself a giant, yet repeatedly fails to protect its most vulnerable citizens. But his comments also demand scrutiny. When an American president labels another sovereign nation a disgrace, it reflects not only Nigeria's security failures, but also the geopolitical arrogance that often accompanies Western interventionist rhetoric. His threat of military action reveals a disturbing truth. When a state cannot guarantee the safety of its own people, it inadvertently invites external actors to question and potentially undermine its sovereignty. True disgrace does not come from Trump's words. It comes from a government that has normalized suffering, politicized grief, and allowed insecurity to become the country's most predictable feature. Nigeria must make a choice. Reclaim its dignity through decisive, humane governance, or continue outsourcing its moral accountability to foreign leaders who will not hesitate to weaponize its weakness. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka over the weekend issued sharp criticism aimed at President Trump over his mission to intervene and wipe out Islamic terrorists in Nigeria, calling Trump a madman. Soyinka made the comments while speaking with journalists after a meeting with Governor Hyacinth Aliyah in Benue State. Let's take.
It will be foolish of us to reject aid in resolving any problems, whether economic, cultural, religious. It will be stupid. If there's a possibility of allying with one another, we should take it. But because I'm ill or I have some difficulties, I will not accept aid from a madman. That's all I'm doing. And my definition of a madman, a woman for that matter, is one who, when he or she says, I'm helping you, is actually complicating your problems for you on so many levels. We know why he's talking. It's because why he's talking about Trump is because he doesn't want to criticize. I mean, how do you deal with Nigerians like that? So the problem is on so many levels, including especially the level of the citizens of this nation.
Well, Soyinka's comments come just a month after the United States revoked his visa and banned him from the country. The Nobel laureate has been a longtime critic of the Trump administration and has frequently criticized its policies on immigration and foreign intervention. Meanwhile, former presidential candidate Peter Obi is suggesting that he would have welcomed help from President Donald Trump to eliminate terrorists in Nigeria. Peter Obi made the comments while speaking at the 2025 Leadership Forum Conference at the University of Nigeria's Enugu campus over the weekend. Obi stated that it is not right to start debating when someone has offered you something that you have been looking for, adding that as president, a country's #1 priority should be security. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Please, it's not genocide. Please, it's not this. But to me, I'm not safe. Come and help. Somebody offered you something you've been looking for. It is not going to start debating. What is it? Oh yes, me and my wife are living. We are hungry. Somebody discovered, Peter Obi and his family can no longer eat. You're saying no, it's not true. We ate in the morning, but what I have to do, collect the food first. What I'll do, I would have gone. Even today you declare me president, I can tell you, #1 priority is security of life and property.
All right, Dr. Abati, we've seen diverse views on Trump's intervention. That first soundbite I played from the Fox Radio of Trump calling Nigeria a disgrace was the #1 trend on social media over the weekend. And then we also heard from Professor Wole Soyinka, outrightly rejecting the idea of, a military intervention in Nigeria. Where we see Peter Obi here saying, if someone offers you help, collect it. Do not debate. Your thoughts on
this? Okay, there have been many views.
Yes.
Based on perception, based on affiliations, based on fears and anxieties and all of that. But President Trump, referring to Nigeria as a disgrace, that the country is a disgrace. Wasn't that what he said originally?
Yes.
When he first said Nigeria will be returned to the list of country of particular concern.
Yeah.
Nigeria was so designated when he was president in his first term. And then when President Biden came there, President Biden removed Nigeria from that designation. Now it's a redesignation. And on that occasion, he had made a point that Nigeria is a disgraced country. Mm-hmm. Well, the Nigerian government does not think that we are a disgraced country. He has repeated the same label, in the interview that you referred to, that this country is a disgrace. But we have had, congressional hearing of the African Committee of the U.S. Congress. Well, even if he says he's coming to Nigeria with guns and blazing, he will need the endorsement of Congress, the approval of Congress. And that's why he has to go through Congress, because he cannot deploy American troops without Congress endorsing. Otherwise, that would be an authorized act of aggression by the American government against Nigeria. Now, as for the suggestion by Mr. Peter Obi, it is on record that the Nigerian government has said we are ready to cooperate with anybody who is offering help, whether it's the United States or it's any other country. That was one of the first points that the Tinubu administration made. And then following up by sending a delegation to the United States, a delegation that have queried its composition. There's only one Christian on that list, and it is led by an advisor, not by a minister. The ministers were just following. Some of the service chiefs that were there, they probably had no business with, but the emphasis was on security and defense, rather than also looking at the diplomatic side of it. Even the NIA was not part of that team. So, well, they've gone there. Eventually, when we raised that, even our national security advisor cannot be talking to a first-time congressman. They found a way around it, and national security advisor Ribadu met with Pete Hegseth, because in diplomacy, equals talk to equals, which was why Ramaphosa says he's not going to hand over to a junior U.S. official at the end of the G20, and it's not the United States. Within protocol, reasons, President Ramaphosa acted well. So when Mr. Peter Obi says cooperation, pause and reflect and all that, well, the Nigerian government is already going that line. Now, I said President, Professor Wole Soyinka has been very consistent in criticizing Donald Trump. He says he's even going to write Idi Amin Part 2, you know, Trump, Idi Amin in America kind of play. And when Trump was there for his first time, he voluntarily, you know, relinquished his green card because, you know, it will appear that Professor Soyinka had seen what will happen under the Trump dispensation. And this time around, he has also not stopped criticizing him, either the visa policy or the plan to come and attack Nigeria. When he says he will not take help from a madman, you know, there is a popular saying that even when your enemy offers you food, you don't take it.
You don't take it.
But that's his own perspective. And there are some Nigerians who are saying, oh, Trump should come. He should come and shoot everybody that is available.
Yes.
But the narrative has many dimensions.
Right.
Even in the US, Sarah Jacobs and some of the other Congress people who took part in the debate, some of them are saying Trump is reckless, and they are Americans.
Right.
Some of them are saying he has no powers to go and attack anybody in Nigeria. But the residual point is the point made earlier about safety of everybody. And Nigeria has a responsibility.
This is it. I mean, I think one of the things that Peter Obi said in that video was the fact that, you know, the federal government, instead of debating whether there is a Christian genocide or not, should have just immediately accepted the collaboration. That the debate about whether there is a Christian genocide or not is quite unnecessary, which is one of the things that we've been talking about here. Meanwhile, a new video